The red dust of Mars swirled around the base of humanity's newest achievement, the Quantum Relay Station Alpha. Its tall silver towers reached toward the rust-colored sky, a testament to human persistence and ingenuity. Inside the main control room, Admiral Gray stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching the data streams flow across the massive screens. "Signal strength at 100%, sir," reported the young technician at the main console. "We're receiving perfect transmission from Earth." The Admiral nodded, a small smile crossing his weathered face. After decades of work, instantaneous communication across space was finally possible. The quantum relay would change everything. Mars colonies could talk to Earth without delay, ships could stay in constant contact, and humanity's expansion into space could truly begin. "Send the official confirmation to Earth Command," he ordered. "Tell them Project Quantum Bridge is fully operational." As celebrations broke out across Earth and Mars, nobody noticed the strange readings coming from the outer solar system. Deep in the darkness beyond Neptune's orbit, reality itself seemed to twist and bend. Multiple objects emerged from what looked like tears in space, sleek, dark ships that moved with impossible grace. The first warning came from Deep Space Monitor Station 7, orbiting Jupiter. "Admiral, we're picking up multiple unknown objects entering the solar system," called out Lieutenant Ross, his voice tense. "They're moving at speeds we've never recorded before." Admiral Gray rushed to the sensor display. The objects were approaching faster than anything humanity had ever encountered. Before he could even issue orders, the entire station shook violently. "We're under attack," someone shouted. Red warning lights flooded the control room as more impacts rocked the building. Through the reinforced windows, Admiral Gray watched in horror as beams of intense green light sliced through Mars' thin atmosphere. The research facilities 2 kilometers away erupted in explosions. Emergency signals flooded in from across the solar system. The moon bases were being destroyed. The orbital stations around Earth were falling, and every human outpost beyond Earth was under simultaneous attack. "Get me Earth Command," Gray ordered, steadying himself against a console as another explosion rocked the station. The quantum relay screens flickered but held steady. "This is an emergency transmission to all Earth forces," he spoke rapidly into the communication system. "We are under attack by unknown forces with technology far beyond our current capabilities. All outer colonies are being systematically destroyed. I repeat, this is not a drill." A brilliant flash of green light filled the control room. The last thing Admiral Gray saw was the quantum relay's tower collapsing outside the window. High above Earth, in sleek ships that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, the alien Council forces watched their attack unfold. In their command center, the Council representatives observed through real-time feeds. "The containment strike is proceeding as planned," reported the military commander, his metallic skin gleaming under the ship's lights. "These humans won't be expanding beyond their planet anytime soon." "Excellent," replied the Council leader. Their rapid technological development was becoming concerning. This will keep them confined to their world for at least a century. The quantum communication technology they developed was far too advanced for their stage of development. "All major space installations have been eliminated," confirmed another officer. "Their lunar bases are destroyed, Mars colonies are neutralized, and their orbital facilities are disabled. Should we proceed with planetary bombardment?" The Council leader considered for a moment. "No. Our goal was containment, not extinction. Their planet-based civilization can continue, but they will not threaten galactic stability now. The humans will rebuild eventually, but by then, they will understand their place in the galaxy." As the alien ships turned to leave the solar system, they failed to notice several things. They missed the hardened military bunkers deep beneath Earth's oceans powering up their systems. They didn't detect the hidden facilities in the Antarctic ice switching to emergency protocols. And most importantly, they never saw the small teams of survivors already gathering data about their attackers. The Council believed they had contained humanity. They would soon learn how wrong they were. 3 months after the devastating attack, Captain Mike Anderson stood at the edge of a massive crater in the Siberian wilderness. Snow fell softly around his team as they studied the wreckage before them. What they had found wasn't debris from Earth's destroyed stations. It was something far more valuable. "It's definitely one of their scout ships," said Dr. Roberts, checking readings on her tablet. She brushed snow off her protective suit and pointed to the twisted metal. "The crash damaged it, but most of the ship is intact." Mike walked closer to the alien vessel. Its dark surface seemed to eat the light from their floodlamps. "How did we miss this during the initial searches?" "Because it didn't want to be found," Dr. Roberts replied. "The ship's hull absorbs radar signals. We only found it because the power finally died completely." The recovery team worked quickly, setting up a containment dome around the crash site. Earth's remaining military forces couldn't risk anyone else discovering this prize. As cranes carefully lifted pieces of the ship, Mike noticed something that made his heart race. The ship's computer core appeared undamaged. Back at the underground facility beneath the Pacific Ocean, teams of scientists worked day and night studying the alien technology. Mike watched through reinforced glass as Dr. Roberts and her team carefully connected Earth computers to the alien system. "The translation program is working," one of the technicians announced. "We're getting readable data." Screens around the room lit up with translated text and diagrams. Mike's eyes widened as he realized what they were seeing. It's their database, their entire database. Dr. Roberts quickly scrolled through the information. "This is incredible. Look, they call themselves the Galactic Council. They're not just one alien race. They're a coalition of different species. But why did they attack us?" Mike asked, leaning closer to read the text. The answer came as they dug deeper into the files. The Council had been watching Earth for decades, growing increasingly worried about humanity's rapid technological advancement. The quantum relay had been the final straw, proof that humans were developing too quickly to control. "They were afraid of us," Mike said quietly. "They attacked because they were afraid we'd become too powerful too fast." Dr. Roberts nodded, still reading. "According to this, they call it a containment protocol. They'd done this before to other races they thought were developing too quickly." The next few weeks brought more discoveries. The alien ship's technology was advanced, but not incomprehensible. Humanity had already theorized about many of these systems. They just hadn't built them yet. The Council's attack had been meant to set Earth's development back by centuries, but instead, they had handed humans a complete guide to their technology. In a secure conference room deep under the Atlantic Ocean, military leaders gathered to discuss the findings. Admiral Jones, one of the few high-ranking officers to survive the attack, stood at the head of the table. "What we've learned from the scout ship changes everything," he announced. "The Council thinks they've confined us to Earth, that we'll spend the next 100 years just trying to rebuild. They don't realize they've given us exactly what we need to fight back." Mike stepped forward to present the technical findings. The ship's database contains their star charts, their communication protocols, even their shield frequencies. But most importantly, we now know they're not as advanced as they wanted us to think. "Can we build our own versions of their technology?" Admiral Jones asked. Dr. Roberts answered from her seat at the table. "We can do better than that. Some of their systems are actually less efficient than designs we were already working on. By combining their technology with our innovations, we could surpass their capabilities." A smile crossed Admiral Jones's face. "Then that's exactly what we'll do." The Council thought they were punishing an upstart race, but they just armed their worst nightmare. He turned to face the gathered leaders. "Begin Operation Phoenix. We're not just going to rebuild. We're going to show the Council exactly how dangerous humanity can be." As the meeting ended, Mike looked at the holographic display showing the known Council worlds. The aliens thought they had won, that Earth was beaten and contained. They would learn their mistakes soon enough. In the depths of Earth's oceans and hidden mountain bases, humanity was about to leap forward centuries in development. The real war was just beginning. 18 months after the alien attack, the underground facility in Antarctica hummed with activity. Dr. Linda Roberts stood before a massive window, watching as robots assembled the first of Earth's new warships. The vessel's dark hull gleamed under the bright lights, its surface covered in patterns that seemed to shift and change as she watched. "The adaptive camouflage is working perfectly," Commander Tom Wilson said, walking up beside her. "When powered up, these ships will be completely invisible to Council sensors." Linda nodded, checking readings on her tablet. "And the shield technology is even better than we hoped. Instead of just blocking energy weapons, it absorbs them. Each hit will only make our ships stronger." The massive chamber contained 6 ships under construction. They looked nothing like traditional human spacecraft. These vessels combined the best of Earth's innovations with reversed-engineered Council technology. They were smaller than Council ships, but far more advanced. In another part of the facility, Tom led a team testing the new tracking system. He pointed to a holographic display showing nearby star systems. "The Council thinks their hyperspace drives are untraceable. But look at this." He pressed a button, and the display lit up with dozens of glowing trails. "Every jump through hyperspace leaves a tiny ripple. We found a way to detect these ripples. We can track their ships anywhere they go." Linda watched the trails with satisfaction. "They won't be able to hide from us. And they won't see us coming either." Above them, on the surface of Antarctica, nothing appeared unusual. The Council's periodic scans of Earth showed only a research station. They had no idea that nearly a kilometer beneath the ice, humanity was building the most advanced fleet in the galaxy. In the main control center, Admiral Jones reviewed the latest progress reports. "How many ships will be ready for Operation Shadow Strike?" 10 ships will be completed next month," Tom replied. "Each one carries enough firepower to match 3 Council vessels, and with the stealth systems, they'll never know we were there until it's too late." The Admiral studied the detailed hologram of their first target, the Council's main shipyard in the Arcturus system. "And you're certain their sensors won't detect our approach?" Linda stepped forward. "The ship's hulls absorb all scan types the Council uses. We've tested them against exact copies of Council detection systems. We're invisible to them." "What about the new weapons?" the Admiral asked. "Even better than planned," Linda said with pride. "The energy absorption shields let us capture their weapon fire and send it back at them. Their own attacks will power our counterstrike." In a nearby chamber, crews trained on perfect replicas of the new ship's control systems. The pilots learned to handle vessels more advanced than anything humanity had dreamed of building just 2 years ago. The Council's attack had forced Earth to advance centuries in just months. Mike Anderson, now a fleet commander, watched the training from an observation deck. "To think they believed they were setting us back. Instead, they gave us everything we needed to surpass them." "That's always been humanity's strength," Linda replied, joining him at the window. "We learn, we adapt, and we improve. They should have studied our history better. Humans are most dangerous when backed into a corner." The Admiral's voice came over the facility's communication system. "All personnel, prepare for final system tests. Operation Shadow Strike begins in 30 days. Throughout the base, activity increased. Engineers ran final checks on the ship's systems. Weapons specialists loaded the advanced missile bays. Medical teams stocked the infirmaries. Everything had to be perfect." In orbit, Council observation satellites saw nothing unusual. Their scans showed a wounded planet, slowly rebuilding its basic infrastructure. They never detected the quantum-encrypted communications between hidden bases. They didn't notice the new power signatures, masked by advanced stealth fields. The Council had wanted to contain humanity. Instead, they had created something they never expected: a human fleet more powerful than anything in their arsenal. And in 30 days, they would learn just how badly they had underestimated Earth. The Arcturus system shimmered peacefully in the darkness of space. Around its third planet, massive shipyards floated in orbit, building vessels for the Galactic Council's defense fleet. Security patrols moved in regular patterns, their sensors sweeping for any signs of trouble. They found nothing unusual. They couldn't see the 10 Earth ships hiding in plain sight, their advanced stealth systems making them completely invisible. Inside the lead ship, named Shadow of Earth, Commander Mike Anderson watched the final preparations. All ships report ready, his communications officer said quietly. Weapon systems charge. Shields at maximum power. Send the signal, Mike ordered. Operation Shadow Strike begins now. Across the hidden fleet, crews moved with practiced precision. The ships split into 3 groups, each targeting different sections of the massive shipyard. They closed in slowly, passing right between Council patrol ships without being noticed. Distance to target, 1,000 kilometers, reported the navigation officer. Council defenses still show no sign of detecting us. Mike allowed himself a small smile. Launch fighters. Small craft slipped out of the Earth ships, also completely invisible to Council sensors. They carried special weapons designed specifically for this mission. The Council was about to learn just how much humanity had learned from their attack. All fighters in position, came the report. Awaiting your command, sir. Mike took a deep breath. This was the moment that would change everything. Begin the attack. All ships, weapons free. Suddenly, the empty space around the shipyards erupted with weapons fire. Energy beams and missiles seemed to appear from nowhere, striking vital points on the massive structures. Council ships exploded before they could even raise their shields. First target destroyed, reported the weapons officer. Moving to secondary targets. The Council facilities, caught completely by surprise, had no time to organize a defense. Their ships tried to fight back, but they couldn't target what they couldn't see. Earth's vessels absorbed any stray shots with their energy-absorbing shields, growing stronger with each hit. Council ships are firing blindly, someone reported. They still can't detect us on their sensors. In the Council command center, panic spread as more explosions rocked the shipyards. Where are they? Screamed a Council commander. How can they hit us if our sensors show nothing? The Earth fleet moved methodically through their targets. Hours of simulation and practice paid off as they destroyed key facilities with surgical precision. They weren't just attacking randomly. They were following a carefully planned strategy to cripple the Council's shipbuilding capability. Main reactor complex targeted, reported Mike's weapons officer. Firing now. A massive explosion lit up space as the reactor went critical. The blast took out several surrounding structures, creating a chain reaction through the shipyards. Council ships tried to flee, but many were caught in the destruction. Sir, called out the communications officer, I'm picking up Council transmissions. They're blaming each other for the attack. Different Council races are accusing each other of sabotage. Mike nodded with satisfaction. This was exactly what they had hoped for. The Council would turn against itself, looking for traitors in their own ranks. They would never suspect that the supposedly primitive humans were responsible. All primary targets destroyed, reported the tactical officer. Secondary targets eliminated. Mission objectives achieved. Send the recall signal, Mike ordered. All ships return to Earth. Maintain full stealth protocols until we're out of Council space. The Earth fleet vanished into hyperspace, leaving chaos behind them. As they traveled home, Mike reviewed the battle footage. Not a single Earth ship had been damaged. Not one crew member had been lost. It was a perfect mission. In the Council shipyards, confused aliens searched desperately for answers. Their sensors had recorded nothing. Their defenses had failed completely. As they argued among themselves about who was responsible, none of them imagined that their contained enemies on Earth had just struck their first blow. The real war had begun, and the Council didn't even know who they were fighting. The Great Council chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives from 20 different alien species shouted accusations at each other. The destruction of their main shipyards had sparked a crisis unlike anything the Council had seen in centuries. The Blue Star Empire must be responsible, shouted the representative of the Crystal Worlds, his crystalline form flashing with angry colors. "They have always wanted control of our shipbuilding facilities. How dare you?" The Blue Star delegate rose from her seat, her scales bristling with rage. "We lost 3 cruisers in that attack." This was clearly the work of the metal mines. High above the chamber, in a hidden observation room, Admiral James Cooper watched through the stealth ship's sensors. Earth's fleet had returned to launch its second phase of attacks, but first they wanted to see the Council tear itself apart. "They still have no idea it was us," said his tactical officer, smiling slightly. "Our stealth systems are working perfectly." James nodded, watching the aliens argue below. "Launch the second wave of attacks. Hit all planned targets simultaneously." Across Council space, Earth ships appeared from nowhere near military bases on 3 different worlds. Their attacks were precisely coordinated. Weapon depots, communication centers, and defense stations all exploded at exactly the same moment. In the Council chamber, emergency alerts began flooding in. "We're under attack," screamed a delegate, reading the incoming reports. "The mining colony on Sector 7 is being destroyed." "Impossible," another shouted. "Our military base in the Proxima system is also under attack." The Defense Network Command Center reports heavy damage. The Council leader, a tall being with gray skin, tried to restore order. "Deploy all available ships. Find these attackers." But the Council ships found nothing. Earth's vessels slipped between their patrols, invisible to all sensors. They struck with devastating accuracy, their enhanced weapons cutting through Council defenses like they weren't even there. On the bridge of his ship, Thunder of Earth, Admiral Cooper watched the attacks unfold. "Status report. All targets being hit according to plan," his officer replied. "Council ships are in complete disarray. They're shooting at shadows, sometimes even hitting their own vessels by accident." The Council's mighty defense network, which had protected their space for thousands of years, was being systematically dismantled, and they still couldn't find their attacker. Back in the Council chamber, the leader received more disturbing news. "My lords," a junior aide rushed in, "we're detecting energy readings similar to those used in the shipyard attack. They're coming from inside this very building." Panic spread through the chamber. Guards rushed to protect the delegates, but they couldn't find any intruders. Earth's stealth technology was too perfect. "How is this possible?" the Council leader demanded. "Our sensors are the most advanced in known space. Nothing can hide from them." Admiral Cooper smiled as he watched the chaos below. "Send the message to all Earth ships. Begin final approach to the Council capital. It's time to show ourselves." The Council's confusion was about to turn to terror. Their mighty civilization, which had ruled the galaxy for centuries, was being taken apart piece by piece, and they were about to learn the identity of their attackers. In orbit around the Council capital world, more Earth ships dropped their stealth fields for just a second before vanishing again. Council sensors caught brief glimpses of them, enough to cause even more panic, but not enough to target. "My lord," a Council technician called out, "the attack pattern, it's impossible, but all these attacks are using technology similar to what we used on that primitive world, on Earth." The Council leader froze. It couldn't be possible. They had contained Earth, destroyed their space capabilities, forced them back to their own planet. But as more reports of destruction poured in, a terrible realization began to spread through the Council chamber. They hadn't contained humanity. They had awakened it. The Council's emergency session was in its 3rd hour when it happened. The massive holographic displays in the chamber suddenly went dark. The Council leader looked up in confusion as the room's lights dimmed. "Security breach," shouted a guard, but his warning came too late. The air in the center of the chamber seemed to ripple, and suddenly 10 Earth ships appeared, hovering silently in the massive space. Their dark hulls gleamed under the emergency lights, weapons primed but not firing. The Council members stared in shock at vessels more advanced than anything they had ever seen. Admiral James Cooper's voice boomed through the chamber. Members of the Galactic Council, we bring greetings from Earth. Impossible. The council leader stumbled backward. You're just primitive humans. We contained you. Did you? Cooper's hologram appeared between the ships. Let me show you something. The chamber's displays came back to life, now showing footage from the day of the council's attack on Earth. They watched their ships destroying the lunar bases, the Mars colonies, all of humanity's space achievements. You attacked without warning, Cooper continued, without provocation. You tried to destroy everything we had built. The council members watched in growing horror as the footage continued, now showing Earth's recovery of their scout ship, the development of new technologies, the construction of their advanced fleet. But you made 3 critical mistakes, Cooper said. First, you underestimated human ingenuity. Second, you gave us access to your technology. And third, he smiled, you made us angry. One of the council ships in orbit fired at the Earth vessels in the chamber. The energy beam passed right through them. Holograms, the council leader realized. But where are the real ships? Look up, Cooper suggested. The chamber's ceiling became transparent, revealing the true Earth fleet in orbit. Hundreds of ships, far more than anyone had expected, surrounded the council capital. Their stealth systems deactivated one by one, revealing Earth's full military power. You thought you had contained us? Cooper asked. In 18 months, we took your technology and improved it beyond anything you thought possible. Your weapons made our shields stronger. Your stealth systems became our invisibility. Your database became our guide to the stars. Several council members rose to speak, but Cooper raised his hand. Before you consider any rash actions, know this: we have already disabled your entire defense network. Your weapons cannot harm our ships. Your sensors cannot track us. Your shields cannot stop us. To demonstrate, an Earth fighter flew straight through the council chamber's supposedly impenetrable security barriers, passing through them like they weren't even there. But unlike you, Cooper continued, we don't destroy civilizations just because we fear them. We're here to change things, not end them. The displays now showed the worlds the council had contained over the centuries. Dozens of species, their development artificially halted by council intervention. This ends today, Cooper declared. Earth demands the council's immediate reform. No more attacks on developing worlds. No more containment of species you fear might surpass you. The council leader, seeing no choice, stepped forward. And if we refuse? In response, every Earth ship in orbit fired a single shot. The beams hit with perfect accuracy, slicing off the top meter of every major building in the capital city. The message was clear. They could have taken much more. We're not here for revenge, Cooper said firmly. We're here for justice. The council will change, or it will be replaced. The choice is yours. The chamber fell silent. The council members looked at each other, then at the Earth ships surrounding their world. They had tried to contain humanity, to keep it weak and controlled. Instead, they had created something unprecedented, a species that had taken their best technology and surpassed it in mere months, a species that now held the power to reshape the galaxy. The council leader looked at Cooper's hologram and asked the question everyone was thinking. What are your terms? 1 year after Earth's dramatic revelation to the council, the galaxy had changed more than anyone could have imagined. The Great Council Chamber, once a place of fear and control, now buzzed with excitement as representatives from 100 worlds gathered for a historic moment. Admiral Cooper stood at the main podium, looking out at faces both familiar and alien. Behind him, the new Earth-designed quantum displays showed live feeds from developing civilizations across the galaxy. Each one was now free to grow at its own pace, without fear of containment. Today marks the first anniversary of the reformed Galactic Council, Cooper began. And what a year it has been. The chamber's displays showed images of the changes. Earth ships helping rebuild worlds damaged by the old Council's attacks. Human scientists working alongside alien researchers, sharing technologies and ideas. New trade routes opening between previously isolated civilizations. When we first revealed ourselves, Cooper continued, many feared we would seek revenge, that we would use our power to dominate or destroy. Instead, we chose a different path. The former council leader, now serving as an advisor, nodded in agreement. The past year had proven that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their advanced technology. It was their ability to forge connections and build bridges between different species. Our first act was to free all contained civilizations, Cooper said. Our second was to share our innovations with peaceful worlds. But our most important achievement has been the creation of the Development Protection Act. The displays showed the new law's effects. Young civilizations reaching for the stars, protected by joint Earth Council patrols. Cultural exchange programs helping different species understand each other. Scientific missions exploring the galaxy's mysteries together. Earth's technology helped make this possible, Cooper acknowledged. But it's the spirit of cooperation that will keep it alive. In orbit above the Council world, the combined fleet demonstrated this cooperation. Earth ships flew in formation with vessels from 20 different species, all equipped with shared technology. Their crews worked together, learning from each other's strengths. We've established teaching centers on 50 worlds, Cooper continued, places where species can share their knowledge freely, where fear of development has been replaced by celebration of progress. Dr. Linda Roberts, now head of the Galactic Science Division, stepped forward to speak. The mixing of different scientific approaches has led to breakthroughs we never expected. We've cured diseases that plagued worlds for centuries, solved energy crises that seemed impossible, and we're just getting started. The chamber erupted in applause as she showed their latest achievement, a new form of faster-than-light travel that made the old Council's hyperspace drives look primitive. But our greatest victory, Cooper said as the chamber quieted, has been proving that different species can work together as equals, that we don't need to fear each other's advancement. He gestured to the young representatives from newly freed worlds, now taking their places in the chamber. Their civilizations, once held back by force, were now rising to join galactic society as full members. Earth's retaliation wasn't just about showing our strength, Cooper concluded. It was about creating something better than what came before. A galaxy where progress is celebrated, not feared, where cooperation replaces control, where every species has the right to reach for the stars. The chamber filled with cheers as Cooper signed the final document, officially changing the Galactic Council into the United Stellar Alliance. The old era of fear and containment was over. As the celebration continued, Cooper looked out at the gathered species, humans chatting with aliens who had once been their enemies, former council races working alongside civilizations they had once tried to contain, all of them building something new together. The council had tried to keep humanity down, to contain their potential. Instead, they had helped create a force that transformed the galaxy, not through conquest or control, but through cooperation and hope. Earth had done more than just retaliate. They had changed everything.